What is going on, fam? How is everybody doing? Everybody enjoy your libations or whatever you got, whether it is chamomile tea, Coca-Cola, water, hydration, black tea. It's a little late, but if you're at work and you need a little caffeine, I understand. Listen, fam, we got a lot to talk about today, but not too much because you all already know. But let's first get to the business of the business. I hope everybody's doing wonderful today. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I want to get to the first things first. Please hit that subscribe button if you have not hit it already. Please hit that like button. Please go to subscribetobrown.com and add your name to my mailing list just in case, anything, whatever. We live in an uncertain time. This is an uncertain world that we're in. So please, please, please go and do that. I would appreciate it. Also, what is this thing doing? Something's always doing something. But listen, fam, also, I said hit the bell. If you have not hit the bell to get notifications, please do that as well. I did a quick hit recently, and if you didn't get the notification, you weren't here to watch it. So please do that. Everybody knows I don't do a lot of quick hits. I try to have thoughtful commentary, but occasionally if something happens during that period, and I know I'm not going to be on until Monday, so something happens Thursday or something happens Friday, and I think it needs some input right away, I will do that. So please make sure you hit that bell as well. That would be very, 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 very helpful. And there are links into the description for other ways to help out. But here you go. Do not forget the 1st of August, that's a Thursday, we're going to be doing book club. How the Irish Became White. We're going to be doing book club. So please, if you have not, that's a relatively short book. Please, if you have not pick it up because we're going to have the conversation. So we will still have the Monday show. We will still have the Wednesday show. And then we will have this show. It will be on a Thursday. So it'll be that week. It'll be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's just what it is. And it is what it is. It is what it is, family. So let's get down to it. We had a very, 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 very busy week. A very busy week. Very, very busy week. We had a lot of conversation about bots and birtherism, ladies and gentlemen. Bots and birtherism. A lot of conversation about bots and birtherism. And, I want to slow down for a second because those of you who have been here for the longest time really understand that we've been having this conversation here for a very long time. Right? And the conversation that we have been having here has nothing to do with what they're talking about. So they had this whole thing after the Kamala, and people came out and they said everybody needs to protect Kamala Harris from the bots. The bots are coming at her, and they went at Jack from Twitter, and they said you gotta protect her. The bots are coming at her, and these are racist bots, and this is a new form of birtherism, and what are you doing? Well, I have to ask Twitter, what are you doing in terms of verifying accounts? Because if you verified accounts, I know there are some people who want anonymity, but if you verified accounts, I could get my whole ADOS community who's online to be verified, and we wouldn't have this problem. So that's the question I have. But nobody wants to ask that question until something happens specifically to them. But then something very interesting, there was something else very interesting happened. Turns out these were not an uptick in bots. These were people. So it turns out, and this gentleman is from is CNN's reporter, I think, on tech. And he said, Twitter tells me the accounts attacking Harris' race were not bots. We saw no coordinated use of automation during the recent debates. And here's another one. Hold on, let me see if I can put it. Wow, I want it to be on the screen. But these were not bots. So what do you make of it? What are they then? They were not bots. What were they? Who were these people? Well, it says reports of malicious automation and bots are false. We see no coordinated activity. So who were these people who were talking? Well, let's first of all talk about who they were not. They were not Don Jr., who tried to use the race question from somebody who wasn't even ADOS to try to attack Kamala Harris. That's what they were not. We are not. I have shared this I can just scream. I am in favor of what could be a $17 billion program. Reparations. That is a big government program. I've only worked for Democrats. I worked for the DNC. I was there supporting Bernie because I didn't want Hillary in 2016. This is not conservative. I don't know what Don Jr. is doing except trolling. This has nothing to do with ADOS. This is Don Jr. being Don Jr. But it's much easier for you. I'm sorry, 17 trillion. A $17 trillion reparations plan. But it's much easier for you, although it could be, it's within that range. Yahoo said that. Darity said it could be within that range too. But there's a range in the trillions of dollars. So if you have a trillions of dollars, if you have a multi-trillion-dollar agenda, it should be a given that you're not conservative, because there is no conservative that I've ever seen. There is no conservative call for reparations or conservative agenda for reparations, because conservatism is small government. So that's what we're dealing with. So when we slow this down and we really think about it, and we really try to understand what was happening here when people started talking about birtherism, they started saying, talking about birtherism. Donald Jr. is his father is against reparations, right? He said it's not going to happen. So of course we're not aligned with that, because Trump is opposed to reparations. So of course you can't align us with that. So you have to try to figure something else out. You have to try to call this and remake our agenda-driven argument into something else. Well, Yvette, what did they try to do? Well, it was a lot. It was a lot. They tried to do a lot. But when Don Jr. came out and said what he said, what happened was all of the candidates kind of jumped in because there was a Trump involved, and they all started throwing things. And so Joe Biden said the same forces of hatred rooted in birtherism that questioned Barack Obama's American citizenship and even his racial identity are now being used against Senator Kamala Harris. Right? Well, so what they started doing was using this one absolutely one Trump tweet to tie us all together into that, as if we're on board with Don Jr. and Trump. They tried to tie all of it, say we're questioning her blackness. Cory Booker tried to sound real tough. She don't have S to prove. Cory, if you don't stop trying to be something that you're not, that's part of the problem with your campaign. Can I give you a little advice? Stop trying to be something you're not. Be authentic. You don't run around cussing like that. Hush. Beto O'Rourke, there's a long history of black Americans being told they don't belong, and millions are kept down and shut out. Blah, 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 blah. But a jig. But a judge. But a judge. But a boo. You got your own problems. The presidential competitive field is stronger because Kamala Harris has been powerfully voicing her black American experience. Her first generation story embodies the American dream. At least that was honest. Elizabeth Warren, and so on and so forth. So what I want to say, first of all, let's be clear, because I know there are people watching who haven't watched before, or who are just now tuning in like, what is this? What is this? What's going on? Please, 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 please pay close attention. ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. That's chattel slavery in America. We do not now, nor have we ever, challenged Kamala Harris's blackness. She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's black. That's fine. We have not challenged that. Or whether you want to call it African Americanness, whatever you want to call it, we have not challenged that. So those of you who are following the Roland Martin tomfoolery of the day are making a mistake. That's not what we're doing. Roland Martin got on TV and made a mess of himself because all of the talking heads came out, and he says, Roland has a temper problem. He has a self-control problem. He has problems. And we don't do this, ADOS. We got to start. We can't be Roland. We can't be, because this will get you in a lot of trouble. Because people be wanting you to keep that same energy. So we don't want to get involved in any of this. This is immature behavior. This is for all the dumb ASS simple Simon fools who play the Trumpian game of questioning the blackness. Blah, 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 blah. The man just talks. The man just talks. And so he shared this tweet, because what you have to understand is that this was all very coordinated, right? This was all very coordinated. Everybody got together. Everybody decided that they were going to have this conversation. Everybody decided. So he shared this. This is what Roland shared. This is what Roland shared. Kamala Harris was born in Oakland. Her mother was Tamil Indian. Her father was born in Jamaica. Birtherism is racism, full stop. You don't need to support Harris for presidency. But if you are black and buying into this, you are aiding and abetting. Nobody is saying that she is not black. Black has become interchangeable with African American, which I have a problem with. Because when Obama was president, I said he wasn't African American. What I meant, this is what I'm trying to say though. When you use that, what I'm talking about in terms of that is ADOS. So if you use it interchangeably to mean black, she's black. But what I'm talking about is American descendants of slavery. What that means is the people who have endured not only American oppression in this generation, but have eaten the failure of slavery and everything that accrued from it. This accrued disadvantage. So if you say to me she's black because her father's black, that's fine. That means something else to me though, and that's why we crafted the term ADOS. We crafted the term ADOS because I said, it has to mean something different. Because when I said what I said about Obama not being African American, they made it to be like, well, his father is African American. So then you have to come with something different. It has to mean something different. You have to have another level of specificity. So you come up with another term that Antonio Moore and I came up with, that's ADOS. American descendants of slavery. That describes something that is economic. That is an economic disadvantage. There's an economic caste. Well, Yvette, what do you mean by a caste? What do you mean? People who watch this show have seen these charts, but that little red line on the bottom, that is black. The blue line is Latino. That dark blue, that light blue line. The dark blue, navy blue line up top is white. Now, we've been here the same amount of time as the white people up top, but we're on the bottom. What that lets you know, that tells you something very specific. That tells you something very specific about who we are. That tells you economically we are a bottom caste. We have talked about it on this show. And you can't just say we're the same as every other group, because this comes from inequality, and they did a study in LA, they did a study in Miami, Boston too. But let's just look at this one really quick. U.S. black median value, that's 200. African black, 60,000. That tells you that even within blackness, we're not the same economically. There is a cost baked into being ADOS that is just not baked into general blackness or general African Americanness. That's why we created the term ADOS, to create a level of specificity outside of black and African American. Because when I say Obama's not African American, people say, well, his father's African. You have to have something more specific to describe us and the cost that we endure in this country. And people will say, well, Yvette, I don't understand exactly what you're saying. Well, understand this. Even when people of African descent, like black immigrants, come here, when they go home, nobody calls themselves African. Right? They call themselves Kenyan, or they call themselves Nigerian or Ghanaian or whatever they are. That's what they call themselves. They don't call themselves African. That's only like this catch-all once you get here. And the word has created a lot of problems in terms of how we define ourselves and how other people define us. And that's why the need to change that. I don't understand why there should be a problem with creating a distinction. Because everybody understands distinctions in other groups. Why is it all of a sudden when we talk about ourselves and try to distinguish ourselves and who we are and what we stand for and the cost and the lineage and the disadvantage, why is it all of a sudden we have a problem? I don't understand why we have a problem. It seems to make total sense to me. And understand that this this whole birtherism thing that's being said is really ignorant, and everybody who's using it is ignorant. You know, Roland Martin went on TV and said that it's a purity test, and we're challenging her blackness. No, it's not a purity test. We have not challenged Kamala Harris's blackness. It's not a purity test. We didn't do that. We didn't say, see, a purity test would say you have to be ADOS for us to vote for you. That's what a purity test would mean. It is ignorant of him to say something different. That is ignorant. We never said that. This is what we said. We said, listen, you have cloaked yourself in ADOSness. You went to Howard, then you announced your candidacy from Howard, and we said to you, listen, first of all, you're cloaking yourself in us and you're not of us. You're Indian and Jamaican. That's your lineage. Doesn't make your lineage any better or worse than ours, but that's who you are. And you're cloaking yourself in us for political capital, because there is no Indian necessarily in Jamaican political capital. So you're hinging and anchoring yourself in the civil rights movement and historically black colleges when that's not your lineage. But the second part of what we said is more important. We said, if you're going to do that, you're doing that and you're doing that, but you don't have a black agenda. Where is your black agenda? And Roland Martin said, well, I don't have any problem with criticizing her policies. No, we asked, where was her agenda? You haven't been paying attention. Why do you show up on TV? Why do you show up on TV if you haven't been paying attention? The least you can do, if you want to show up on TV, I know you're happy to be invited again, Roland. I understand. They done kicked you off TV a long time, and you probably should be off TV still, because you still haven't explained to any of us about those questions during the Hillary Clinton debate. How did Donna Brazil, did you get them from Donna Brazil? You still haven't explained to us how that happened, so you really shouldn't be on TV. So I understand why you're happy for the butter biscuits. I understand. But the problem that we have here is, we have not ran any kind of purity test on Kamala. We have not said that. She has anchored herself in us as if, listen. I have two parents. My parents are still married, retired factory workers. Okay. They were not Kamala. I did not have a scientist as a mother and a professor as a father. Because America did not give the opportunity. Now, don't talk to me about these rare aberrations. For the most part, we have not had the opportunity for that. So my mother was a maid during the time of all this stuff that you're talking about in these 60s and stuff. And while Kamala's mother was a scientist. What I'm trying to tell you, because that comes out of slavery. My mother was also a sharecropper. What I'm trying to tell you is that we are distinctly different groups with advantages and disadvantages. Do not cloak yourself in me for a win. See, what you want to do, Kamala, is cloak yourself in ADOSness for the win. Right? You want to use our political capital to win, but not do anything for us in terms of an agenda. During that Griot interview, you said, am I going to do anything specifically for black people? No. That's a problem for me, because we did that with Obama. He cloaked himself in us, went around singing Al Green songs. Some people will break up. Whatever he was singing, I don't even remember the song. And we jumped around. Oh, girl, he be singing, he be singing, Barack. And Barack ain't have no black agenda. What we are saying is that is not happening again. What we are saying is that we are transitioning from an identity-driven group to an agenda-driven group. We want a black agenda. We don't have any purity tests. I said before on this show, I will vote for a white man, white woman, whoever. I don't care. I am judging you based on your agenda. That is the highest thing. You cannot look like me, or look like people who look like me, or look like ADOS people, and use that to kind of get our vote. And it's especially true for you, Kamala, because you really, you went hard at cloaking yourself in ADOSness when that's not your lineage. And what I said to you is, okay, where's the agenda? So Roland Martin is totally clueless when he says, well, we don't have ADOS101.com. We've always, this whole show has been about an agenda. It hasn't been about identity. It hasn't been about purity tests. We have defined ourselves as a specific group. Nobody has a problem when anybody else defines themselves as whatever they are. Nobody. Nobody has a problem when anybody else does that. If anybody else says, I'm Ecuadorian, I'm Honduran, or I'm Costa Rican, and they describe their specific country and advantages and disadvantages. Nobody says, well, you all Latino or you all Hispanic. Why are you differentiating? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? That is divisive. Nobody says that to anybody but us. Nobody has a problem with that when anybody else says it. It's just like now people are saying, oh, Yvette, you're trying to suppress the black vote by demanding things. Oh, wait a minute. People demanded DACA. There are conservative Democrats who are demanding right now that the Democratic Party go from the left to the center. All kind of groups are making demands of the Democratic Party and have made demands. The LGBT community demanded that Obama, who started off his campaign as not being in favor of marriage equality, they demand that he do that. And nobody says, you're going to tear the party apart if you keep doing that. You stop it. You stop it right now. Nobody said that. So why is it when we do something, it's only when we do something that we get bludgeoned. And it's so disrespectful that Roland went on TV. Let me just see if I can find something that he said. Let me see if I can just find something they said. Roland said, we're engaging in self-hate. He said, we're engaging in self-hate. No, Roland, it's the opposite. I love myself. I love my group. I love my people, which means I want the best for them. That's what it means to love. See, loving your group doesn't mean just getting on TV and strutting like a peacock. It means you want the best for your group and you're willing to advocate with that level of specificity for this one group. Right? That's what it means. See, what you did when you went on TV and called us asinine black folk doesn't sound like self-love to me. It sounds like you peacocking for some other people, Roland. Sounds like you peacocking for butter biscuits and to get back on TV. You went on like MSNBC and called us asinine black folks for demanding a black agenda. Everybody wants an agenda. Every group wants an agenda. I don't care whether you are big agriculture and you have something that you want in terms of subsidies or policies. I don't care whether you are finance and you want deregulation. I don't care whether you are, you represent DACA and you want, Trump to continue the Obama era kind of executive order. Everybody has an agenda. And we have demanded of Kamala a black agenda, and she has said no. And we have pushed back on that. And how is that a problem? And how do you get on TV and just say something that's not true? These people, they'll never have no black agenda. No, you haven't paid attention because you don't care. You think you the Ace Boone Coon. You think you the HNIC. Like, you think you are supposed to lead us as opposed to like being grassroots driven. That's the problem. That's at least part of the problem. That's at least part of the problem. And so what we're doing, what we're really telling Kamala is this. Our expectation of you, we've changed from the era of Obama. Our expectation of you is for you to do something for us in terms of policy, not performance. We don't need black performance art. We don't need the same thing we got from Obama, which was bruh, and you get Jay-Z around and you doing DAP and all that. We don't need that. We learned from that. That didn't work out. We don't want that no more. We need policy and not performance. Policy and not performance is what we're looking for. And we have articulated on this show exactly what we want and exactly what we're looking for. Nobody says that Kamala wasn't born here. This is not birtherism. Nobody's challenging her citizenship. Nobody is challenging her blackness, except for like some weird trolls online or whatever. But that's not us. That's not what we've been doing. We have said that you're not ADOS. That's just what it is. But we have not said that we won't vote for you if you don't come through with an agenda. So we don't have any kind of purity test. We're just saying, where is your black agenda? Can we see it? Because we've been through this whole thing before. He gonna hook you up in the second term. Never hooked us up. And we've just had a whole lot of foolishness. We've had a whole lot of foolishness. People done brought up Russia again and all kinds of stuff. Look, let me just show you this. Let's just go this for real quick. Then we had this nonsense. We had your Bertha tweet targets Kamala Harris, and you know who they interviewed. Y'all already know who they interviewed. I'll give you 10 guesses and the first 9 wrong. They interviewed Howard University professor Greg Carr, who has been, and this is why this is a poor article. Like, as a writer, as a journalist, you have to give balance. This man, and this is why this man is dishonest and disingenuous, because you should at least tell the reporter, listen, I have been opposed to this day one. Don't present yourself as like an unbiased person who's interpreting what's happening, right? So here's what we have. And this is part of what he said. I don't remember what order he said, and it really don't matter because it's all stupid. There has been a social media criticism of Harris and Booker, who is African American and from Newark, New Jersey, propelled by an online campaign that operates under ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. Online, the group says they seek to reclaim, restore the critical national character of the African American identity and experience. First of all, we've covered all the candidates. Why are you just putting them in there? We have criticized Bernie, Biden, Beto. What are you talking about? You don't know. Carr believes their social media discussion around reparations may be driving a conversation to separate those who are black and African American or American black, as Alexander put it. Carr made sure to emphasize that ADOS has nothing to do with major national groups. Child, your group ain't major, honey. Hush. With major national groups fighting for reparations, like the National Coalition for Reparations in America. He connects ADOS to a group that attempts to create controversy or issues in black communities that might lead to nefarious goals like suppressing the black vote. See, this is where we go. This is where we go with the nonsense. Black voter expression, ADOS voter expression, is not voter suppression. You're supposed to be a political scientist or a professor. How do you not know this? Either you stupid, either all of y'all are stupid, or you think I'm stupid. Because what we're doing is saying we're doing the same thing as everybody else. We're expressing ourselves in the political arena. So what we're saying is that, listen, we have an agenda. Here's what that agenda is. We're a specific group, and we're a specific group because of what? We're a specific group because of this right here. This makes us a specific group. We have a specific disadvantage in this country. And the data shows that, and that is orchestrated, and that is willful, and that is intentional, and it is a permanent failure that they have put us in. That's what they want us to be. And we are saying to them, we're not going to take it. We want this agenda to get us out of here. Because if you put us in slavery, this is what happens if you don't fix it. We become this bottom group. And what we're saying is that we want out. We're saying that we want to be a part of this country that we built. That's what we're saying. There's nothing any kind of way divisive or nefarious or black voter suppression about that. Listen, if you all do this right, Democrats, you will get a number of black voters in the numbers that you've never seen before. This could actually increase the black voter turnout if you do it right. If you listen to Mr. Carr, you're in for trouble. If you just keep ignoring us and you decide you're not going to have any kind of conversation or negotiation, yeah, but that's your fault because everybody else gets it and we're tired of not getting it. You're not even talking to us. You're telling us to take class-based politics and just do it, make it work. And we're saying, no, a black agenda, please. We're expressing ourselves politically. Political expression is not black voter political expression, is not black voter political suppression. I would think a professor would know that. What good does it do to any of us to assert pride? This is of privilege in oppression. Read that one more time for me. What good does it do to any of us to assert pride of privilege in oppression? That sounds very anti-ADOS to me. We are not asserting pride and oppression, but we are proud of what we contributed to this country. We're very proud of, we built this country and we're proud of that. You're telling us, Dr. Carr, that we should not be proud of the freedom struggle in this country that our ancestors went through. That was an oppression. You could say that. Somebody made the case in Twitter. You could say that for every African country that's been through something, whether it's colonialism, whatever. They assert pride in coming through that struggle. You're telling me I can't assert that same pride in my group? What are you here for? What are you teaching the kids? It's not a pride in oppression. It's a pride of surviving. It's a pride in fighting that oppression. It's a pride, like, we're not supposed to be here, sir. We're not supposed to be here. We have survived the most effective and advanced white supremacy on the globe. We're not supposed to be here, but our people fought to be here, and we're proud of that. Who are you to tell me that I shouldn't be proud of that? Who are you? You're nobody. You don't get to tell me what to have pride in and what to not have pride in and what to show pride in. You're not some kind of leader or elected authority. Who do you think you are? Who do any of you think you are? I don't know like what these people think they are. And they all came out. It wasn't just him. Let me see if I can find some of the other tweets. It was all of them. They all came out. The black chattering class came out in force. Like, understand that these people are coming out in force to make sure we don't get reparations on the black agenda. Please understand that's what they're doing. Somebody asked it. He didn't ask in good faith, because when I tried to this John Storer, whoever, I don't care who he is, but he asked the question and I tried to answer the question about what is going on with Harris. He tried to ask like he didn't know. And then when I answered the question, he blocked me. That goes to show you what's really going on. And here comes Joy Reid right on time, child. She's always right on time with stuff she don't understand or know about. It's an attack that began the day she announced for president and has been intermittent ever since. Trolling her background as a form of birtherism and an anti-immigration bank shot designed to drive down black turnout if she is a nominee. Digital Sister is a resource. Let me tell you something. Digital Sister went on my page the other day. When I tagged her and said, "Where's your evidence?" She went on my page the other day and she just lost her mind, child. She just typed meme after meme after meme after meme, just 1,000 memes, one after the other. Like that was digital evidence. I think people are like having problems. That's not evidence. We're talking about digital forensic evidence for what you said. Joy Reid can't back this up. And let me just say, Joy Reid, nobody is trolling Kamala Harris's background. I have no problem with her background at all. Jamaican Indian, I have no problem with her background. It's just not the same as my background. That's fine. We're just differentiating between two very different backgrounds. What's wrong with that? Nobody says there's anything wrong with having a Jamaican background, anything wrong with having an Indian background. Nothing at all wrong with it. Nothing. But what's wrong with saying that these are different backgrounds? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying that, like, this is American, descending from American chattel slavery. Not all slavery is the same. Understand that Jamaica is a mostly black country. That's what they do. That's how we're in the belly of the beast here. This is still mostly white. Richest country in the world we built. Different. It's just different. Nobody says it's no. And so what happens is she came from the elite of both of those. She came from an elite mother and elite father. Professor, scientist. That's not our background generally, because here's what our background looks like. The economics paints the picture. Right? Bottom 50% of black households, and this is worth less than $1. This is us though, because this is when you go to different places, it's not everybody else. I think this is what is it, the Miami one? For black American households, the median net worth is $3,700. For black Caribbean households, the median net worth is $12,000. And we've been here from jump, right? We've been here 400 years, and this is where we are. That's what we're saying. Slavery, American chattel slavery, and accrued disadvantage. Everyone has a specific claim. CARICOM has a specific claim, and I support them. I support CARICOM making their claim. That's the islands from Jamaica to Haiti. They're making their claim against the white countries that enslaved their people. I support them all the way. Why can't y'all support me? Us. People are behaving as if there's no distinction among groups. Our economic exclusion in this country is extremely important. That is everything when you're living in the richest country in the world. If you're living in one of these other countries, it might not be. But if you're living in the richest country in the world, it is a thing. And our work, sorry to update you, Joy, our work began well before Kamala announced her candidacy. I predicted that Kamala would be the thing, and she would try to be Obama remixed a long time ago. In like 2016, something like that, 2017. I predicted that a long time ago. I'll go find it for you. This is not something that just began when Kamala started. No, Kamala tapped into and became a part of a conversation that was already ongoing. And so when she did that little thing, like, I was a little black girl and it's segregated, blah, 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 blah. People came, it created like a continuation of an ongoing conversation. But if you are not immersed or connected to like regular ADOS people who live regular lives, you wouldn't know this. But you can't hold me accountable for what you don't know. Like, you can't hold me accountable for your ignorance or the role you're playing, to kind of mute us. Because that's also what you see. A lot of people are talking about things that they don't understand. Pay close attention, Jamil Hill. Pay close attention. These bots are going to be working overtime to make sure the dumb narrative of blackness becomes a theme. This is straight from the misinformation and distraction playbook. You don't know nothing about no playbook. No, this has been going on for a long time. We've had this discussion for a long time. And I tell you what, if Kamala would come forth and give a strong ADOS black agenda, I wouldn't have no problem supporting. Like, I have problems with her history. That gives me pause because I might think you might be lying, giving your truancy and all that stuff. But give me a black agenda. Let me see. Because I want to vote for an agenda. Bernie, Elizabeth Warren. I talked before about how Elizabeth Warren came out talking about redlining. I like that. So if I was having a purity test, that would be a problem for me, wouldn't it? No. And here this child is again. Warning. For 5 months, a small group of black cybersecurity experts have been watching. Child, name your names. Let me start over. This one is just, he's tomfoolery. For 5 months, a small group of black cybersecurity experts have been watching a bunch of black Trumpers using ADOS and warning it was the leading edge of a racist Russian cyber attack on Kamala Harris. Many bots, some trolls. Here it is. Fine. Block. Report. If you ever want to have some fun in your life, I want you to go back. You know how you can do that thing in Google, where you can go all the way back and you can like put in a year and you can go back. You can put in a year and you can go back and see like 2017, 18, 19. Put in Malcolm Nance from like 2018 on, where he was talking about the Mueller report. Every prediction he has made has been wrong. I've never seen a more wrong person in my life. But what is more interesting about him is what he's trying to do. Understand how nefarious what he's doing is. He's telling people, do not listen to anyone. Block people who have the ADOS hashtag. He is silencing other black people who are concerned voters who want an agenda. That's what he's doing. He's trying to silence us. And since, remember the report that said white people don't have black friends, they have virtual friends out in the ether, in blogosphere. Oh, Malcolm Nance said I had to block these people. That's what he said. He said, he's a black man. Did you know he's a black man? He has been in cyber ops and he said that these are not real black people. I know, Susie, I know. You ought to be ashamed of yourself because you don't have any. What are your qualifications? Give me the 5 cyber experts. What are your qualifications to say all this? Malcolm. God, to be named Malcolm is a shame. And so instead of engaging us, you're telling, the white people that follow you that we're all bots and that we don't deserve to be heard and that we don't deserve to be engaged. Now, with everybody else here, I still don't know. I don't know whether you're stupid or you think I'm stupid. I have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing. I have no way of knowing. And you see, I talked about this, but what we have to understand is that there's no political capital in just being, and it's not just about being Indian or Jamaican. There's no American political capital in being, Peruvian or whatever. There's no way you can go up there and say, I'm a strong Peruvian, and people be like, okay, you got to tell us what that means. You got to build that up yourself. You can't anchor it in anything. But there's a whole civil rights struggle in this country to where you don't have to do that if you are ADOS. And so what people are doing is using up our political capital, then deciding not to give us anything later on. So you want to use up my political capital to get in office. You want to use up all the ADOS political capital. When you get there, you don't want to do nothing to help me out. No, the bank is closed. The political capital bank, that's closed. If you want to do that, first of all, please don't do that. But if you want our vote, just give us an agenda. We don't have a purity test. We're not challenging Kamala's blackness. If you give us an agenda, now we're cooking with oil. Now we're cooking with grease. That's all we want. That's all we want. That's it. How is that complicated? That's not complicated. I wouldn't think it is. But it's just kind of funny to me that all of the same suspects come out. Time we try to have a discussion. Time we try to have an agenda. I've never seen so many black people upset that we have an agenda. Why? Roland got on TV and straight face lied. They don't have an agenda. I don't have any problem with you having a problem with her policies. Well, that's what we said, Roland. We talked about the truancy. We've talked about her being the top cop, California. We've talked about all that. Where have you been? What you been doing? You've been flying around, ain't you? It's been flying around thinking it's all going to work out. But you should have been paying attention, or you just should not go on the TV. Let me bring up this tweet. There's a very good tweet that kind of goes to, this is what David Sirota, he works for Bernie, and this is what he said about Bernie's plan. When anyone says we can't afford to cancel 1.6 trillion of student debt, and that's harming the economy and enriching loan services, remember that we recently saw a Federal Reserve bailout in the excess of 29 trillion for Wall Street and the financial system. So I want you all to tell me something. If the people who created a global recession can get 29 trillion, why can't the people who built this country get 17 trillion? Now they got debt in the span of 2-3 years. We're talking about, we've even said you can do it over time. Let's have the conversation. Tell me why. You got to make it make sense for me. If you made us slaves, see, the thing is, when we say we come from slaves, what that means is not only the slavery, but you see how, during the New Deal, white families got catapulted to the middle class, even white immigrant families. And we didn't get that until way, way later. So now they're getting equity out of their homes and they got wealth and they're putting their kids through school and we have nothing. America's job is to make us whole. America's job is to take whiteness away from white people and make us just Americans. If you want to say, why can't black people just claim American? Why? You make us do it then. You make us American, we'll claim it. You make us that and we'll claim it. Easy. But that's the job of America. And America has the money to do it. America lacks the will to do it. And the people who are getting in the way, the black people who are going on TV and saying there's something wrong with us and calling us asinine and saying we have a purity test, there's something wrong with you. And what you are being paid to do or what you're doing on your own, no way for me to know and I don't care. I only know what the end result is of what you're doing. And you are harming us. It's funny, you have to have other people kind of get it. Reparations could directly compensate blacks for a 400-year-long history of dispossession and discrimination. that dates back to chattel slavery, when blacks were the capital assets of a white plantation class. We were the assets. We were the shoes. We were the shoes that black people, that white people used to run their races. And so there has to be a repair to make us American. That has to happen. Why are you getting in the way of that? Why is anyone getting in the way of what we're doing? Black millennials less likely to own a home than their grandparents at the same age. We're going backward, right? So I'm going to go to the phones because I want to hear what you all have to say about what happened. But I just want to make it clear that about what we're doing. We are in favor of an ADOS agenda. We need that. And it's not just like, well, you know, we just want it because we want it and we just not catching up fast enough. No. We're a wealthless group. We're a wealthless group. And so we're doing this out of necessity. Politics is an exchange, and we want our part. We built this country with free labor, and as our reward, we got oppressed a new way every generation. But it's not enough just for the oppression to end. You have to make us whole. You have to make up for what was stolen and robbed and how we were locked out economically. You have to make up for that. And that's what we're saying. I want to make it clear. There is no birtherism. There's no purity test. We never said Kamala isn't black. That's not what we said. So I'm gonna go to the phones real quick. Give me a minute to set them up, fam, as usual, and come back and we'll have a conversation. All right, fam, we are back, and I'm going to go to the first caller. I'm going to come to you. I want to hear what everybody has to say. I am coming to 256. 256, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Lamonte Patterson. I'm in Alabama.
Hey, what's going on?
I've been tuning in for a good while.
Okay.
Big fan. But I just wanted to expound on a few things. A lot of the conversation that I've seen on the internet, a lot of people say, what does it matter? What does it matter? Black, African American, what does it matter? And I always come back to words matter. Words create thought. They paint pictures. They provoke actions and are given meaning to how they are used. The Kamala Harris situation illustrates this. The term black and African American has been used so interchangeably that one has stripped the other of its specific meaning. So many people simply don't know what the words mean. Unfortunately, a bunch of these people have blue check marks on Twitter and use their platform to further misinform others rather than educate themselves. They dehumanize the people that are trying to have the conversation, for one, and then they disregard the message that these people are trying to bring. The ADOS movement has come along to re-narrate the narrative in its own voice by explaining the importance of lineage and a black agenda through data. And it all just brings me to a quote. And I had this on my mind before I even watched this. And it's: the power of the white world is threatened whenever a black man refuses to accept the white world's definitions. That was James Baldwin. Because we are trying to define for ourselves what we are trying to accomplish, this is threatening the power structure. And I think that the Democratic Party, the reason that they want this to go away is because they understand that this isn't going to go away easily now. They know that we're real. We're everywhere.
I agree, Carla. I agree. And they don't know what to do with us. We're everywhere and they have no idea what to do. No idea. What you do, though, is give us an agenda.
Spot. They've called us COINTELPRO. They don't understand that these are real people, and these real people, they're not just going to disappear. They're not going to go poof and vanish. And you're going to have to reckon with that.
Yeah, I totally agree, Carl. I'm gonna speak to it offline, but I totally agree with you, Carl. I want to thank you for calling in. I agree that was a powerful Baldwin quote too. Let me just say this. Part of there has been an arrangement. Majority of ADOS vote Democratic. What's happened is that, and we vote Democratic not because we're crazy, but because Republicans have been so hostile to our interest. Okay, so it's not because, why don't you just come over here? No, anybody doing you want us to like jump from the like frying pan to the deep fryer. So, but the thing that I'm trying to say is, one of the things that has happened in terms of the arrangement, like in order to make the Democratic Party work, the Democratic Party gives here and gives a little bit here and gives a little bit there, and you take this. But we've always just kind of been the group that's like, well, we're just going to fall back and do the right thing because it's the morally right thing to do, or, we're the conscience of America or whatever. We've never really said, no, we're not doing that. We're not going along to get along. We're not going to do something because it's right. We're not going to fall on our sword. We're not going to do that. We want the same thing everybody else gets. And see, what the Democrats have done is give everything away to everybody else and nothing to us. So everybody else was crying, get it to the blue dogs and give this to people who want DACA. Okay, give this to the Midwest. Whatever. But for us, it's just like, why don't you just be quiet and just vote like we say it now? So nobody knows what to do with the ADOS group that now understands politics and understands that politics is an exchange and puts together an agenda. They don't know what to do with that. And what they want to do with that is for us just to go away. But we're not going away. That's a problem for them. So, 323, I'm coming to you. 323, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's up, Yvette? This is Chad from Los Angeles. How you
What's
doing?
going on, Chad? Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Very first thing I wanted to do was thank you. And shout out to the Breaking Brown family and to everybody that's doing the work behind the scenes.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
I've been so blessed and so impressed to be among all of you. I just wanted to say that, Yvette, you have given, like, I've been walking around for 40 plus years thinking I was crazy, right? If you feel like
Me too.
you're in some kind of bubble where you see things that nobody else sees, right? And so what you have done is given me language that allows me to express what I've always felt. And you literally saved my sanity, because it would have driven me crazy in the next few years, I'm sure, watching all of this play out in the public space, and how they are, obviously not prepared to reckon with ADOS and what we are demanding. And I wanted to just say quickly that, I won't talk about the clown car of, opposition that they rolled out to try to derail what we're trying to do, because all these people that I see that are opposing us, that are online, that are throwing around these false narratives and trying to, take the conversation out of where we are taking it, they are remedial people, right? They're less than exceptional people. And what I see from ADOS is nothing but exceptionalism. I'm surrounded by some of the most creative, innovative, intelligent, fearless people that I've ever come in contact with. And I just wanted to say to the family that you guys got to understand how powerful you really are. We are fighting. We are fighting every day. We are going to the mat with these people every day to protect our lineage, to fight for our justice claim, what is rightfully ours. But I want you to know that you all are exceptional. You are exceptional people, and the people that you are fighting against are not. They are much less than exceptional. They are remedial, and that's why they throw out these wild, baseless slanders and accusations, because they don't have the capacity to really fight against us on any factual basis. So I just wanted to say, because shout out to everybody. There are people in the chat, people that that I'm talking to, that we're organizing, we're doing things behind the scenes, we're showing up in these spaces, we're making sure that they know ADOS is here, we're not going anywhere, and you're going to have to deal with us. And those people are the people that are that history will write and say, this is where the tide changed, this is where the tide turned, and these are the people, these are the groups of people that changed that tide. And I want to thank you, because you literally saved my life, and I'm sure a lot of other people on this call that watch you on a weekly basis feel the same way, because while you can read the books and you can digest the information and knowledge, without the language, without that, the last caller said, without the phrasing to be able to really say, I'm ADOS, right? I'm not African American, I'm not African, I'm not a Pan-African. This is what I am. This is my lineage. I want to wrap my arms around that and love it and be proud of the fire that we came out of, right? So
absolutely.
I just want to say thank you, Yvette.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are other people on the call that feel the same way as I do, and we're going to keep on fighting. And we got you. We're not going anywhere.
I appreciate you, fam. Like, listen, because this what it. Listen, I don't do anonymous calls because I need to be able to call you back and cut you out. So I don't do anonymous calls. I see a number. No, I don't do them. But let me just say this: what he's saying too is powerful in the sense of, I think we all saw ourselves as like this global group, right? Like, but the power in like, even in terms of like familial and community, that power is in like your local tribe. Doesn't mean you can't join forces with somebody else. It doesn't mean you discriminate. You don't do that. But it means that we never really saw ourselves or were proud of ourselves as a specific tribe that had accomplished a lot within this white supremacy. Like what we've done here is marvelous. We are still alive. Honestly, I told somebody the other day, like, I'm amazed whenever I'm like, I run a lot. And I told somebody, like, when I'm running, I see black people driving cars, I'm like amazed. But what you mean? I'm just like we're not supposed, like, you all know that we're not supposed to be here. Like, we're here. Like, now we have to do the work of being here to keep, like, other generations to be here. Like, that's the work. That's the job of us. But I don't think people really understand that I don't think people really understand that part of what has to happen, you know, part of what has to happen for us is that we have to keep doing that. We are community now. I see people all the time, like in grocery stores and stuff, and like, Yvette, what's up? Like, that's community. And anybody who's ever met me will tell you, like, I'm cool people. Like, I'm not, that's, you fam. You recognize me, that means you fam. Unless you ain't fam. Then we gotta do some other stuff. But like, for most of the, 99% of the time, the people I've met are fam. Even the people who disagreed with me, even the people who have disagreed with me have been like, okay, I get it. I mean, I don't agree, but you cool people. Like, because that's who, we're still a tribe. A tribe can disagree, but we're still the same group, and we still have this, that's what we are. We've never really kind of allowed ourselves to be that group. And that's changed. So I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 513. 513, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Steve from Ohio. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Trying not to let these people drive me crazy. Because some people I talk to, they don't even know what reparation is. They're like, what is that? I'm like, it's a national topic. You don't know, or you living on a rock? You know, what's going on? And then you got your religious nuts. Oh, well, just forgive. God said forgive. And they try to drive me crazy, but I'm not going to let them. But anyway, I have 4 questions for you. And
okay, go
I
ahead.
want to thank you and Tone and Sandy. I think you guys are doing an excellent job, and I support you 100%. But my question is, the debate, who controls the question? Is it CNN or NSC or who?
Yeah, whoever's doing the debate, I think they control like which questions are asked, whichever, like, so like if MSNBC is doing the debate, like, it's their questions. You know, it's they decide what is asked and how.
Okay, because I know Tone said between now and July 31st to just hammer whoever's doing the next debate and tell them we want more questions on a Black agenda, more questions about reparation, you know, the whole 9 yards. So
yeah, I think we should start reaching out to, like, you know, there's to the heads of the departments. We did, you know, in terms of whether it be CNN, like the last one was MSNBC. Like listen, we want more questions about stuff that relate to us.
Okay.
Why have we been boxed out?
Is there a model letter that we can send to congressmen and senators? Because some people don't know how to articulate what needs to be said. So is there something that we can copy, paste, circulate?
I don't have one, but you know, one of the things that I haven't put together one, but one of the things that we're going to do, the Breaking Brown website will relaunch probably in another week and a half or so after the 4th of July. So hopefully one of the things that we can do in terms of brainstorming together in the forum is come up with kind of specific letters that go with specific issues that everybody can just, if you want to tweak it, you can, but it'll be like the letter that you use for this, the letter that you use for that. So hopefully that's something that we will be able to do once the site launches again. It should launch within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, and the last 2 questions. As far as the HR 40 bill, do we have to stand behind that? Can we not write our own bill? Dr. Sandy Darity is putting together a brain trust, and I'm gonna be part of that too. We've talked about it. We're gonna rewrite what's there. So he's putting together a team of academics as well. He's putting together a team of academics as well, so that the bill can be rewritten. And so that's gonna happen. So that's for that. Okay, last question. Are you going to stream the ADOS conference?
I have no idea. I have no. And you're gonna have to. I'm gonna throw this. Tone gonna be so mad at me, but I'm gonna throw this off to Tone because he's the technical expert. Okay. He's a technical expert. But see, the thing is, like, even when, like, you know, he's a technical expert, but he's not. Like, neither of us are. But it's funny because when we streamed the Birmingham, that was, people don't know, that was all Tone just setting up like a piece of equipment for like 2 hours. to stream that. And then people had so many issues like what a volume one. Yeah, because this is we're not volume people. We're not technical people, but this was us setting it up so you could see it. So I would love to do it, but gosh, the criticism. But I would love to do it though. I would love to stream it for people who are not there. Let me just say this. I have two different views. One is I want to stream it. That's me on one hand. I want to stream it. The other hand of me is like I kind of sometimes want to say stuff that's in private. And these are people who are going to be with me there. And sometimes I don't want to let stuff that I feel like is really private to my group out to everybody else because you don't know who else is going to stream it. So I have two conflicting ideas about whether or not to stream it. And, Antonio and I will eventually come to a decision. That's what I'll say.
Can we do 2 conferences there?
There will assuredly be another one, but I can't tell you when. There will not be another one anytime soon. The Louisville one's going to be the Louisville one for right now. And I still got a lot of stuff I got to do.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. And I love you guys. And thank you.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, everybody, there's a lot of the streaming. I hear y'all. It's not like I haven't heard you. I'm not hard of hearing. I hear you loud and clear. I understand who people want to have a stream. I'm just saying. I am going now to 816. 816, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Anthony from Kansas City, Miss Carnell. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Anthony?
I'm wonderful. I just wanted to call you. You messed me up. I've been listening for a while.
Good.
And I've even gone back and checked out your older shows.
Thank you.
But Yvette, you struck a chord with the Twitter, with the Latino caucus, the Hispanic caucus, and the Black caucus's agendas. And that really spoke volumes about why we don't have anything in this country. And why we don't have an advocate in D.C. They're not advocating for us. They want to be the conscience of the Congress. And that really just messed my head up a little bit. I mean, I'm a 47-year-old man, and I listen to politics. I paid attention to CNBC and CNN. But when I got a hold of you, it's like, and you were Tone, and I even read Dr. Darity, and it's just like we are zeros, and we playing zeros. And no matter what we do, we gonna be a zero.
Yeah, that's the position we're playing from. You're playing from the zero position. You just playing. You like playing. It's like we like playing from that place. Like this is zero. Go long. And we like, yeah, okay. No, why you do that for?
But our elected officials, ma'am, it's like they have some kind of sickness. Because they know what's going on. All of them signed off on DACA. Every single one of them. The entire CBC signed off on DACA. All of them. And they still are hemming and hawing about that HR 40, even a conversation about reparations. HR 40 don't promise nothing but a conversation about reparations. And I don't know how many people feel about it, but I'm not interested in fighting for first place minority. We're looking for full citizenship.
Ooh.
And politics is the only way this going to happen. And if we keep electing these same people to office, we're going to get what we get because you got one group fighting for their group. They're advocating for their group.
Yeah. As you should.
As you should. In a democracy like we have, you should advocate for your group.
Absolutely.
But it seems like they're scared to, and anybody that does is wrong. And I just want to thank you. I appreciate your work.
I appreciate you. What's your name, bro? What's your name, bro?
And I appreciate your time taking my call. But
what's your name, brother?
We're going to get on this thing here and get this donation thing going here.
I appreciate you. What's your name? What's your name, bro?
My name is Anthony.
Anthony, you came in here with your R&B voice on. Anthony came in here like, I'm just trying to tell you. I just want you to understand. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm just playing, Anthony. I appreciate you. But you came in here with...
No, it's cool, Mr. Funny. I'm serious.
I know you dead serious. You dead serious. And I appreciate it.
You don't know what you're doing here because I got my dudes in the barbershop that don't talk about nothing but females. We listed now. And they own it. We coming. We coming. We got to get our numbers together, but we coming.
Yeah, but see, the thing is...
that are descendants of slavery.
So the thing is, we've never made discussing politics like a thing. We kind of like leave that to like, I've had people tell me, well, I don't get into all that. That's your life. Like politics is your life. You can't tell me that you don't get into all of that. That is the life's blood, and we don't even really kind of enjoy it. So I think part of what we've done here is with the book club and information, we've made people understand. Like, now I understand how I'm getting screwed. Now I understand how I'm getting messed up, and we really think that politics is something, right? Where, how can I put it, Anthony? We really think that politics is something that's complicated. Like, it's really complicated. Like, it's I don't get into it because, and it's not complicated at all. Politics is all about collective interest. It's not complicated, and it's actually very interesting. And you see, like, understand that just the ADOS people in this group have created a reparations conversation. This isn't even like the majority of Black America who's doing this. This is mostly people who listen to Tone Talks, Breaking Brown, and we've done this. Imagine what we could do if we really decided to get a collective thing going, right? Like, with even more people. So I think this transforms, this kind of breaks up blackness in the terms of all black is the same and the flattening of blackness, but it also kind of reintroduces politics in a way that people understand, and they understand that, well, I can't understand this. This is actually fairly simple. And we really did get screwed, and we really can do something about it. And I think that is absolutely important. But I think we have to understand that doesn't happen without you and everybody else in the chat right now. Like, none of that happens without all of that. So it is what it is. I appreciate you, fam, for calling in. I appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm calling every chance I get from now on, Yvette. You take care. Have a good night.
You too.
And keep educating us, because we definitely need this political education.
Well, thank you, fam. And we're all doing it. Like, I see stuff online, articles that I didn't see. I can't see everything, right? So we're all curating and bringing in information and suggestions. I see meetups. I repost it when I see it, meetups here, there, and people are doing local politics. That's what we're doing. That's why it's insane. Like, if you look through all the images of HR 40, of ADOS and meetups, it's insane for you to call us bots. We have not only the conference coming that's sold out, but you see, like, all of the meetups and the there was a video I shared of ADOS people, like, engaging people at Kroger. Like, the supermarket. We are everywhere. Like, what are you talking about? You got to let this bot thing go. I'm going now to 913. 913, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is William Dickens. And the first thing I want to say is that I love your show. I love Tone Show. Y'all do an excellent job at explaining to people about politics. I've been very engaged in my family long before I ever started watching the show, trying to get most of my family more in the understanding of politics. I always try to tell them you need to be politically educated. It's a lot of things that's going on that's affecting you, whether you want to be a part of it or not. It still affects you. So, and you get a lot of times with Black people, because we're so oppressed, a lot of times we don't take the time, because we're dealing with so much that we don't want nothing else added on the plate. And I get it. And I always try to tell them, trust me, if you pay attention to this, it will help you take care of what's on the plate. So I always, one of my sayings, like, when I get up in the morning, is the soldier's first battlefield is his own mind. I think we don't realize that if the mind ain't taking in or learning something new every day,
true,
that mind is not being operated correctly. So when it comes to me being a Black man and being Adolf, I watched my daddy raise 6 kids in poverty. He worked his whole entire life making bullcrap money to try to feed these 6 kids. But he kept food on the table. And when his body started to fail, the white society, my dad had 5 heart attacks, and they were still denying him disability. After 5 heart attacks, they said he was not disabled. So I don't think enough people understand what it is to be a Black man or a Black woman, real Black men and women of ADOS in this country, what's really going on. Me, as a black man myself, I was contracting, and I have lived in almost 22 different states just to try to have a decent job. 22 different states just to try to take care of my kids. But I'm watching the same white kids that I went to school with never have to leave home. Grew up, born and raised in the same town. Because of inheritance. Because of me losing, they was gaining.
They winning. Because of you losing, they winning. Yeah.
That's right. So these people don't understand what is really going on here. And the fact that you got this, for first in my time in my life, I've heard people saying things that I'm saying amongst my family. You are saying it on a national level with no fear. I have always said, you cannot be scared when you know you're right. My daddy told me a long time ago. He said, Bo, you got to stand on your side of the fence and you got to fight like hell. People don't understand that. You know, we get this thing or we just gonna get along. But why it go back to what you were saying in one of your shows, the old Tone show, where you were saying that we drowning. I'm drowning and you still standing on my head. And I'm still like, can anybody else stand on my head? Like, when do we say, no, I'm not gonna drown no more?
Yeah.
It's time for me to be afloat.
You right. You're exactly right, Carla.
I love your show.
Love you back.
I've been on tweet. I've been up there tweeting everything I see stupid. You know, so I wanted to get your email address. I did send you my email, but I never got anything back from you.
What'd you send me? Did you send me a question or something? You know what the best thing? I say this all the time. I think I fixed my email. But I say this all the time. Editor at breakingbrown.com, but put in all caps in the title, like what it was. Called or whatever. Like, call, want to talk to you about XYZ. Put that in all caps because of all this stuff that's ticked up, I get a lot of messages, like maybe a couple hundred a day or something like that. So please put that in the message, and then I'll know. Like, I only say put in the message, like, to people who listen to the show. So then I know, like, to prioritize your message because you heard that from the show. This isn't somebody who's random that's calling me. This is a person from the show who's talking to me. It's a different thing. And then the email had a problem for a while where I wasn't even getting them, but now I get them, so I fixed it. So we can have a conversation. I appreciate you, fam, and sharing your story.
Yes, ma'am.
Because like what I want to say to everybody, thanks, fam, is like this isn't a rare story. Like, the Great Migration happened. We've always been running around in the country that we built trying to find a good life, right? And that's not how you're supposed to be in the country that you were born into, in your homeland that you built. You go back generations. It's not supposed to be that way. And I think what the caller kind of spoke to is that now we're realizing, like, the life that we're supposed to have isn't the life that we have, right? So that's kind of where we are now. That's kind of what we're doing and what we're living through. And I want to say something else. He talked about, like, you know, he talked about a little bit in the beginning called self-discipline. The way I think of it myself in terms of disciplining myself is that, like, he talked about fighting against yourself and, like, standing on the other side of the fence like his daddy taught him. Like, when you get up in the morning, before you even fight against anybody else, like, this is just the way I think of it. I'm always fighting against my weaker self. Like, the weakest part of myself is always like, stay in bed. Don't work out. Don't eat that. Don't read that. Don't you just want to lay down? Don't you want to go here? Don't you want to go here? Like, you always have to think of it before you take on whoever your competitor, intellectual, otherwise. You're always fighting against the weakest part of yourself. And you have to think about that, and that has to be the mindset in terms of what we're trying to do. And, like, you got to win yourself. You got to win yourself first before you win, like, white supremacy and government and all this other stuff. You got to win the day with yourself first. So I think the caller had a point with that too. I'm going to 240. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Sister Yvette, what's going on? From the DMV.
You know I know it.
I had what's going on is ADOS. That's what's going on. I'm gonna tell everybody this. I was thinking in a conversation we were on our radio show yesterday, and people were talking Pan-Africanism, but they were, and I'm like, well, okay, that sounds great, but we can't sue whiteness. We can't do that. And I just reminded them that that's something that's not happening. They're like, well, we got to link with I said, let me give you an example. You have two houses. ADOS has a house. CARICOM has a house across the street. Raiders come and they burn both homes to the ground. Got it. We have insurance. We file a claim. They file a claim. Have you ever heard of anybody filing claims together?
No, never.
So we can go and be, we still neighbors, we still friends, we still family, and say, look, you're my cousin, a distant cousin. How did you get your claim paid? Well, this is what I did. Well, how did you get that paid? This is what we did. So I have a proposal that we find who the leaders of CARICOM are and just say, hey, we want to make it official that we are distant cousins and we're friends. We support you, you support us. Make that official, because I'm really tired of hearing people saying that you're going against each other, you're not together.
Hey,
Let's
Rod,
show some unity.
let me say this. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with CARICOM expressing support of ADOS and we expressing support for them. I have no problem with us sharing ideas. I have no problem with us sharing strategies or tactics. I have no problem with any of that. No problem. But we just have different claims. Like maybe your claim is against Geico and my claim is against State Farm. That's the only difference.
Exactly. There it is. And I'm like, and people they pause and this is something I'm like, now once we do the house, the burning houses and you have your house, we have Geico, you have State Farm, whatever the case may be, people understand. Oh, wait a minute, now I get it. This is for the bougie people in PG County that think that they got so much money, okay? So I had to come up with something where they can understand and relate to that. Another thing, I see patterns developing when we're talking about propaganda, television, the media, where they are putting on non-ADOS people to go against and ridicule and discredit ADOS. But they refuse to put anybody ADOS on to stand for ADOS and give the principles of what we represent. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because my phone, you know what's funny? I get my phone rings for like interviews. Like I've had some good interviews in terms of written reports, right? Like the Vox article that Antonio and I was interviewing for was really good or whatever. But like, but for like to go on camera, like that rarely ever happens. I don't get any calls about that. They call other people. And I think what's happening is that people who know, like people call their friends or people who know this one black person who just knows the 5 black people who normally get called. And it's just, I would appreciate if people would just kind of start to do a bit of research. That would be great. Like you're a journalist, right? Let's start to do a bit of research. That's be a wonderful thing.
Exactly. I have a journalism degree from Towson, and that's one of the things you're supposed to do as a journalist. So I've often gone on Twitter and questioned people's ability to even be able to be a proper journalist. You're supposed to find both sides of an argument and as a true journalist. But otherwise, you're writing editorials and op-eds. Am I correct with that?
No, you're right. You're right.
Then here we go. I'm sorry?
No, I said you're right.
Yeah, Now we have the gentleman that O'Connor. I reached out to him and he was like, well, I don't think that these are bots. I read what he said and I had responded to him. And it's just so wild that you brought that up first. And we have Hispanic person saying, and I'm like, well, no, it's not that we're not bots. We're just native foundational black Americans who built this country who are mad as hell. I mean, basically, that's who we are. And so he's like, oh, I see. So you're having him and the other gentleman that you brought up, the Hispanic gentleman, that's saying, but these people are due. So many people are coming up saying that we're due. With Kamala, she's taking on another persona that it's not just Obama. She's also doing the Cruz Hughes impression of putting on a costume, a Halloween costume of ADOS when it's convenient for her. And I know I'm one of her worst nightmares. This woman, it's nothing that she can't say, that she could say to me, and I won't be able to batted down. I saw her in the debate last week, and she was like, well, I'm the one. She stopped the reparations talk. I'm the one with melanin. So she put on, here's my story of a little girl being bused, and that even has been disputed from people that go to that
Yeah,
school.
I saw that in the Sacramento, what was it, Sacramento Bee? Yeah.
Yes, saying it was already integrated by the time she went there. What is she talking about? I mean, this woman is like just sounding off and saying all kinds of things. But I can't get with even Roland Martin. I mean, Roland talks, and it's embarrassing how they pull him, they drag him out of the trunk or something when they need to sock puppet him. This is another thing I want you all to know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You know he's a sock puppet when they're dragging him out just to speak against ADOS. And I mean, people are really, coming back at him, and nobody, ADOS, is listening. How crazy is it that this man's primary audience is ADOS, and he's sitting there trying to ridicule the very audience he has? Roland, I hope you hear me, because that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to vilify your primary audience.
Yeah, he called us asinine.
That's why your numbers are so low.
He called us asinine.
You don't do that.
Yeah, I agree, fam. He said we asinine, and he doesn't even understand what we're doing. Like, see, the thing is, like, Roland, for a lot of people, I say it's awful that they do it, but Roland Martin exists on the same internet. He's on Twitter at least 20 hours of the day. Like, Roland Martin tweets, like, I've never seen, it's a lot of, one thing I realized being this, it's a lot of manic tweeters out there. Like, Roland Martin tweets at least 20 hours out of the day. That's his idea of working hard. I be tweeting all the time. I be tweeting every day, all day. I be tweeting. Like, that's his idea of hard work. But my thing is, like, if you do that and you engage us, you absolutely know that you weren't telling the truth. You got to. Either, like I said it before, either you stupid or you think I'm stupid. Like, you have to know that, like, what you're saying, you have been engaged by enough ADOS people to know that what you're saying is a falsehood. And I wonder, what you thought would be the benefit of getting on MSNBC and calling us a bunch of asinine black folk. I wonder how you feel. Like, that feels like self-hatred to me. I'm even careful if I were to go on national TV in terms of how I talk about my people, in terms of, even if we are doing some stuff in front of, as a group, in front of, like, this very white audience. You have to be very careful. But Roland isn't very careful in anything he says. He says stuff that is oftentimes detrimental. It's insulting. It kind of adds gasoline as opposed to understanding. And the thing is, like, for most of my tweets, if you go back through out of them, that's not how I respond. I want people to understand. I want people to be engaged. I don't want to just spend my time on Twitter just kind of insulting everybody. Not that it never happens, but it's much rarer than it happens with Roland. Roland does that frequently. And I don't, it kind of put me in a position where, like, even if normally we can agree or disagree or whatever, but I can't respect somebody who kind of engages in that kind of infantile way. It's very kind of elementary, very infantile. It's very petulant. It's very childish, and I don't respect it. And so, thank you, fam. I appreciate you calling in, Ross. Always for the DMV. Go ahead.
One other thing.
Make it quick.
Okay, I wanted to invite everybody to check out and also retweet. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I just wanted you all to be prepared for tweets of ADOS comics, graphic. It's political cartoons, and it's on my Twitter, and I'm basically sharing it around.
What's your Twitter? What's your Twitter again, Ross? For people who didn't,
some ADOS-based videos.
For people who didn't hear you last time, what's your Twitter account?
It's ROSLYN Mickens, MICKENS. So it's Roslyn at Roslyn Mickens.
Rod, that's why I didn't get it last time.
Sharon is Karen, right? Sharon is Karen.
All right, I appreciate you. So hard again.
Right, sis. Good night.
I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to 310. What's going on?
What up, y'all? This is Tom Talk. I was listening to Roz, and then I'm going to talk about the City Lab article. I'll just read it in a second. But I have to add some critique to the ease of just aligning with character. I totally think that they should be able to bring their claim.
Absolutely.
But I also think that we have to be honest about a couple elements. The first thing is, incorporates have long-standing relationship, and it creates a set of obstacles to overcome, because what they do is undermine our relationships before we even make contact. So that's one hurdle. But the bigger hurdle is just the fact that it's not a okay. So look, we go back to the grapevine and the status of calling this country a transient one. So what has happened in this country is that we don't have one immigration group. Like it's weird because we call them black immigrants as if they come from maybe one or at least two countries. There's a vast array of people that are not aligned with each other. But like the reality is that just a couple of the groups have like about 1 million people. Most of them are a couple 100,000. Well, in order to access American normalcy and then also to run for office nationally, they have to coalesce around our block of people that are not only are like 33, 35 million voters, but are of a kind of voting block that actually has great amount of rooting in communities and also long-standing debt owed by those communities. And I'm saying this in the sense of, like, with Jamaicans as an example, there's 1 million Jamaicans in America. We don't have that kind of population base in Jamaica. So the demands for them to actually do for us are vastly different than what we have to concede to them in this relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, like, I think that one of the things that we want to do is, when we say, well, can we just, like, find a middle ground? No, what's been created is a world. Let's talk about this world that's been created right now. It's a world where Kamala is Indian, she's Jamaican, and she's you. But then you can't say you just you. Let me say it again. Kamala is Indian, Jamaican, and she's you. Adolf. But you can't say I'm Adolf. There's no compromise in that situation. And I think this is a nation of black folks that love to make compromise happen. You just came out of a great compression. I explained that before, where wealth wasn't as calcified, and you believe in a world like that's still here. It's not here anymore. Bottom half of the race worth less than $1. Bottom 75% of the race largely don't have any wealth. The top 10% has all the wealth. We've shown it on the blue chart. That 10% is the people in Congress and the people that they go to church with, and they want you to be quiet and just let them be the top 10%. This is what's going on. So it's not as easy as just, if I just talk to them and just tell them what I'm thinking, they're going to understand and want me to be treated better. No, what we have going on is something far more insidious. All the data points to it. And I love that people call in, and I shout out Princess and Roz and Reggie and everybody listening. But I need everybody to understand what the data is showing. When you have more, look, earlier today we did an interview. I ain't going to say what the article will be out, me and Yvette. The article will be out in a couple of days. And it was just kind of like, well, don't you feel like what Joy Reid is saying about breaking up the coalition? What kind of coalition is it if there are more black men incarcerated than all women on the planet? More African American, ADO as men. How is that a coalition? And so, what kind of coalition is it where when the debate happens, we spend all the time on DACA and immigrants. They have it by minutes, and literally they spend no minutes on a black agenda or reparations. But they spent like a good 20% on immigration. Kamala's time, 20% of her time overall, about 20% of the time was on immigration, and we had a strong footing on DACA. What kind of coalition is it where when we bring up reparations, which is a day, people say, well, you might break up the parts talking about that. But they are censoring a discussion of whether illegal immigrants should get certain privileges. Like, how does that not break up the party and lose independent voters? And I'm just saying all that because I also want to talk about this African American identity a little bit. I talked about it in a short video. There's an article that came out maybe about a year ago, I think it was. About a year ago today. Yeah,
it was it was June the 4th, 2018, I think. Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah. And City Lab didn't allow me to respond. They told me that I had to talk to another editor. The other editor was also West African and wouldn't allow me to publish my stories. Luckily, Your West did
That's the piece that I did. African Americans are more than just Africans in America. But I want to share a section from this article to give context that we're not saying that they're not that these West African Nigerians, Igbos are not African Americans. They say it. And so the article is titled "Fortress: Black in America Closed to Africans." And I pull up that section because I'm just going to read it to everybody so that we're all clear. And I'm going to read the section she pulls up. I'm going to continue, and it's not going to be on screen, the last part I read. But it's just crazy. In Kenya, racism was a concept that existed only in books and never in conversation. Tribalism is what we lived with daily. Our identity was and still is ingrained in ethnicity, not in skin color. It explains why most Africans experience being called black or African for the first time when they come to America. Let me say that again. It explains why most Africans experience being called black or African for the first time when they come to America. Neither black nor African are conscious identity markers for Africans in Africa. This is a Kenyan writer writing this piece. Let me explain that we're not making up the idea that Obama was an African American or Kamala was an African American. This is the truth of how identity works outside of America. Let me continue on. One is Tai-Tai, Igbo, Shona. So any jokes or reference to racism in the Black American sitcoms flew right over our heads. The tiny population of Kenyan whites left over from a colonial past are mainly cocooned in their own enclaves, and any effects of post-colonial white supremacy remain very different in an African country. Let me come down here. Let me listen to this. This is what this Kenyan woman says about us. About the whole identity of being African in America. Many Africans in America find little value in identifying blackhood. They resist being identified with blacks once they become aware of the American caste system that puts melanin-rich humans at the bottom of the social hierarchy. Africans in America have this false hope that being an immigrant saves them from classification on that totem pole. See, I think there's a lot going on here where we really don't understand that Adolf didn't draw this boundary. It's been drawn. And I fundamentally think the problem is that for us to actually point out that if this is the rules of the game, that everybody got to say what the rules are, then we going to play by them is what everybody has a problem with. We didn't draw these boundaries. We just telling you that we going to play by them. Kamala Harris was born to a Brahmin Indian mother. Looks like her mother loved her. Looks like her mother was willing to do anything to make sure that she had success and privilege. But at the end of the day, like I said in my last video, she is about a year apart from my mama, and she is not my mama. The problem with what's happening now is that America is using her to avoid what it did to my mother.
Ooh.
America has set her out as the result and the consequence and the answer for all of their racial progress that they never progressed towards. So we have this problem. We have this situation where her parents didn't even come here for asylum. Forget even just, okay, they didn't come here for asylum. They came here to go to school as elite people, both the Jamaican father and also the Brahmin Indian mother. The Jamaican father largely was estranged after a certain age, 6, 7 or something like that. Raised almost entirely Indian, according to the mother's sister. I don't know how you don't understand like that. This politics that we see comes out of that, as it should. She just recently, a new article came out yesterday or the day before that she's advocating for the green card for Indian immigrants because that's what she's rooted in. But everybody's telling us that shouldn't matter, that she's rooted in being Indian, when it's basically what guides our politics. None of this makes sense, and they're trying to give you nothing. And I just wanted to come to you real quick and say, 1, we're not biased, and 2, we're not racist, and 3, we're not xenophobic, and 4, I don't know why Donald Trump's son matters. His son, he's not a politician. Why are y'all acting like the president just tweeted this? We got to start owning the fact that they're trying to avoid our discussion, and our discussion is the most obvious discussion in American history. As Sandy Darity put it, this is the first major reparations discussion since maybe possibly since Reconstruction. during civil rights, they were worried about civil rights. They couldn't really have this discussion. It's so foreign that everybody, once they sit down and understand it, they understand, wow, we really cheated these people. I just wanted to come to you real quick.
Appreciate it, Tom, as always. Yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't understand why Don Jr. matter either, child. What is he doing? Like, why are we fixated on this man? He done got some kind of tweet from somebody who wasn't even an ADOS, who was just trying to get attention. He done got a tweet from them who was, and you done, and I'm about to jump in this, child. I'm going to 785. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. It's
Hey.
me, Joan, in Topeka, Kansas.
What's going on? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you doing this
I'm
evening?
doing pretty good. I cannot complain.
You can't hear me?
No, I said I can't complain. I can hear you just fine.
Oh. Well, I just got a couple of quick things for the family.
Okay.
Number one, and they have to do with part of our agenda, but they also have to do with reparations.
Okay.
Number one is we, as ADOS, need to stop talking about slavery ending in 1865. It did not end until 1942. The last man that went to prison for holding chattel slaves, he was in Texas, and he went to prison in 1942. And there were some little pockets down in Texas that still had slaves in the 50s, and that's during my lifetime. So when they sit up and talk about how slavery was so long ago, no, don't let them play that okie doke. And number two, Denzel made a comment the other day. It was in an article, and I apologize to the family for not getting the magazine, but it was so ridiculous. He was talking about how come 2% can succeed and the other 98% can't. And that directly addresses the fact that we still do not have a good understanding of the nature of wealth. We see Oprah and Michael Jordan and Jay-Z or whoever, and we think that their little bank accounts, and I for one, do not believe everything that they say that they have.
Me neither.
So we see, pardon me?
No, I said me neither. I agree with you.
Well, we see their little bank account, and we think that their little success equals wealth. And that's not the way it works. That's just not the way it works. You and Tom have explained very, very cogently how wealth in this country works. And I wish these Negroes would, I don't know, I just wish they'd shut up and sit down and listen and try to learn something.
I agree with you, fam. I don't know.
I'm serious. I got one last thing. I'm trying to be quick here, too.
Okay.
You were talking about pride earlier, and that Negro talked about pride in oppression. Well, it's not about being proud of oppression. It's about being prideful of just the mere fact that we survived chattel slavery in these United States.
Absolutely.
The original plan, and I got a receipt on this, is from a book entitled From Slavery to Freedom, A History of Negro Americans by John Hope Franklin. And he's got a chapter in there called One Way Passage. The initial plan was for them to go over to the continent, get a boatload of African citizens, bring them over here, work them to death, go back and get another boatload, bring them over here, work them to death, and repeat. We were never, ever, ever supposed to survive this thing. We were not meant for this whatsoever. And things got out of hand for them. Being the people that we are, just like the young man called in earlier about how exceptional we are, and we are. And we need to own that. We need to wear that. We need to walk that down the street every day. We are the strongest of the strong. And once we really understand that and stop listening to that slave talk about, how we're inferior and how, we didn't have any religion and we didn't have any history and all that nonsense, we need to just stop and say, wait a minute, hold up. We weren't supposed to survive chattel slavery, the most brutal crime ever committed against a group of people on the planet. We survived that. We did. ADOS. That's all I got.
Appreciate it, fam. I appreciate it. That's a powerful, powerful call. People keep acting like we don't have anything to take pride in. There's a lot to take pride in here. We're supposed to just run it back to Wakanda for pride. But we don't got nothing. They right. We ain't got no culture. We ain't got nothing. Who you talking about? What group you talking about? Because I know a whole other group. So I'm going to my last call, fam. This is my last call. I'm going to 757. What's going on?
Hello, Yvette Carnell.
What's going on, Otis?
Look, I'm going to try to be nice, and I sent you some correspondence earlier in the week when I told you I love listening to these callers, my fellow ADOS, and every time I listen, I hear things that make me go back and reflect on something. Can you remember when Tavis Smiley held that C-SPAN Black Agenda conference, and he had Tillman and Cornel West, Farrakhan, all of them at the table?
Yeah.
I sent you what I hope you take as a compliment, because I'm going to shout her name out. Mary Frances Berry.
Okay.
She has a book coming out talking about Callie House. I would like for my fellow ADOS people to do something I've said before, and I've seen some negative responses in the chat about me admonishing people. I'm old enough to tell you, all of you out here in that audience, the same thing my mother told me about 40 years ago. At my age, I really don't give a damn whether you like it or not. Sometimes the truth is harsh. Number one, if you want this movement to truly advance, improve yourself. Just like that first caller was calling in talking about understanding and strengthening yourself. The other caller talked about when you wake up in the morning, you have to decide what you're going to do and get your own mind together. I'm going to give you a quick example. When that writer from CBS wrote that horrendous article, I didn't go and attack her. What I did is sent her information and a program that you did and said, to be a snarky, knowledge yourself. Now that term, knowledge yourself, was from the black female that was on Trayvon Martin's jury and told everybody that case with George Zimmerman was not about race. The reason I make this analogy and then switch from that conference is to tell you, I'm going to ask you a question. How many people do you know, especially black people, that have high school diplomas but are functionally illiterate? How many do you know?
A lot. Too many.
Now, I'm going to tell you this in respect to Greg Carr. There are a lot of people that have come out of college that have the very same affliction. Indoctrination is not education. You can tell that by the way he used a quote in that article to defame ADOS. Because, like Tony was saying, these people don't mind capitalizing and earning a living off of blackness. But they want to tell you the very black people that they're admonishing to be, quote, a global community, are not the people who have the access to wealth to be, quote, a global community in anything except culture. That is exactly why Kamala Harris, who we know her upbringing, had to go to Howard to learn how to be black. Let's say that again. Kamala Harris went to the flagship HBCU to learn how to be black. How to do the very same thing that Indian did when he said he claimed blackness so he could get into medical school. These people know how to traffic in what you call the whole blackness but they want no part of ADOS. They want no part of it. The same Greg Cars and a host of other academics that are admonishing us that we're being divisive are the same people who catch a shit just from the same white supremacist imperialism that they claim to be fighting. Why? Because, like they tell us, and there's a one truth they tell, white supremacy has learned how to control both sides of the conversation. A la Trolley Martin. Trolley Martin has never addressed what he did when he was given a professional position at News One. But he did the very same thing he claims that we do when he comes on social media. Did an asinine move by doing what? Passing a question to his favorite politician because he could not follow the rules and had no integrity and no character. What they don't like about us is you and Tone had exhibited excellent, superior character. You have stuck to the facts. You have explained and delineated the specificity of why this global approach to fighting a series of white supremacy is of no use. We have to use lineage. We have to stick with the facts. And sooner or later, we're going to have to learn not to regress into doing things like wondering about fighting bots. Every piece of empirical evidence that proves we are people has done nothing to stop them with the ridiculous assault, even from that Pied Piper stupid that claims to be a rapper, but you know he had access to an elite school, and he's still the black sheep of his family because he couldn't complete school. He had no self-discipline. He had no character. He could not play by the, quote, rules. He did anything by hook or crook, just like he does on Twitter. We have to learn to ignore these people and stick to our narrative. Our narrative is what? The justice claim of reparations for a system that has made us a caste. I even put the definition of caste in your chat because some people don't understand that. That is a social system and construct that allows you to walk around as a human but never advance and be able to, quote, do your best and succeed on merit. These people have to wake up. I'm going to say one other thing too real quick. If you don't believe social media matters, when I tweeted to CBS and then also tweeted to Kamala Harris and that Becky Wicks or whoever she is, the politician out of California, I sent them direct links that was screen grabs of shows from yours. In the middle of tweeting those at 3 in the morning, Twitter sent me a notice and locked my account. Then when I tried to get into my account, Twitter tried to send me to all kinds of crap about supply my phone number and do all of that. I circumvented that system and sent them some emails and said use some unsavory language. That nothing about my activity had changed from the last time you gave me, quote, a 32-hour ban when I got into it with Goldie Taylor, who is another Trolley Martin. The people who think they made it on their own when in fact they've been chosen. Twitter refused to reinstate my account until I used another tactic from a techie and circumvented them and started posting on Twitter through a friend's account, explaining to them that nothing I posted had ever been rejected by them from back in March when this charade started. So why is it now that this no longer meets your criteria? Then something else strange happened. My tweets to Jake at Twitter would no longer turn into a hot link. So Jake muted or blocked me from even using him, as I included CBS, Ramirez the writer, Greg Carr, the other academic, and refused to let me back in. I continued another campaign and angle at attacking them. I won't give it to you in public, but I'll share it with you in private. And mysteriously, they sent me a link to my phone to activate my account. So I finally used that link and turned my Twitter back on. But I had 1,500 people I was following. When they reactivated my account, I only had one follower. That one follower was the interview of Michael Hicks on Haven something with his local radio station. They erased over 1,500 people I was following. So I went right back to my same tactic and sent them some information, then I put it on Twitter. I will not manually reinstate my followers. You removed it. I made no infraction, so you restore them. Just before your program came on, Twitter gave me back my 1,500 followers. If you do not think social media is a powerful tool, if you do not think it's grassroots like the Pan-Africanists have been telling you, you're deadly wrong. I'm going to say it again to my fellow ADOS people that are going to use the theme from that black agenda that Tavis Smiley had. I say that in love. Improve your knowledge, and you will become a worthy warrior, and we will succeed at this. Recurring training. Be willing to go back and listen to the things of the past so you no longer sound like an idiot when I know you have the right intention. Arm yourself with a working knowledge. Stop trying to convert people, engage them in conversation, and empower them to join you. We don't need the zesty people who join because of coercion and then undermine you. We need people who truly understand the veracity of this fight. I applaud you in tone, and I say it with love. People, improve your own mind, and we will win this battle. Much love to you, ADOS. Here to stay. Power to the people.
Appreciate it, Otis. As always, appreciate you coming through and giving you the information. And that brings me to something else. Somebody else said, and Otis is going to be our last call for the night, fam. Somebody else said, at the end of this thing where he said, well, they were not bots. He tried to kind of move it a bit and say, well, but there were a lot of people violating things and they got suspended. No, I know a lot of people who were real people and who hadn't violated anything, like Otis said, and they still got suspended. So this idea that like everybody who got suspended for making, people really just got suspended because the people who regulate these social media platforms don't understand blackness in terms of blackness and the differentiations that we're making. So they don't understand the conversation that we're having. And so when you have that conversation, they automatically say this must be XYZ. We're not talking about the little weird guy who Don Jr. retweeted. This little guy, he was just trying to get attention. We're talking about the rest of us who are trying to have a real conversation about what it means to be ADOS. The part of the problem is that we have a lot of people who are not ADOS like regulating this conversation and content, and they don't understand it. And so they just suspend us because, well, it looks like it's a problem to me, and it's really not. Okay, fam, we are at a little bit past 2-hour mark. Please hit the like button. Please hit the bell. Please share. Do all that good stuff. Subscribe to brown.com. If you want to donate, you can go to donatebrown.com or patreon.com/ycarnell, or the newsletter link is in the description. All that good stuff. And also, please pick up the book. How the Irish became white. August 1st, we'll be having that conversation. We'll be having that conversation with specificity. And it's not a long book, so if you haven't picked it up, you can still pick it up. We can still have a conversation, all of that good stuff. Fam, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate all the work that you all have been putting in on Twitter. Don't think I don't see it. If I don't reply, I reply a lot. But if I don't, I still see the work that we're putting in, and like we have really made an impact. We're still making an impact. Everybody trying to throw themselves in there and subvert everything, subvert the entire conversation that we are trying to have. But we're still in here. We still here. Still is what it is. Ain't going nowhere. As I said before, ADOS is an identity. It's not just what's Yvette, this tone. No, it's an identity. We've anchored ourselves in our history, our heritage, our lineage here, and what we've contributed and understanding our own oppression here. That's who we are. You can't take that away. Sorry. I know it hurts you and it irks you so bad, but you can't do it. And so, fam, I want to thank everybody for coming through. I want to thank everybody for having the conversation. We are going to finish your libations, fam. And that's it. And we will talk again very, very soon. Bye.